What's going on, guys? Fun with Knives back again. Got a review for you today of the Kershaw Emerson CQC-9K. This is the newest addition to the CQC lineup, and it's one of the biggest so far. This is a 2016 release, one I was very excited about, and I know some of you guys have been asking for this review. I really wanted to solidify my opinion on the knife so I could give you some accurate feedback on it, and I definitely think I'm ready to do that. So I'll show you the box real quick. This is what you get. Designed by Ernest Emerson, built by Kershaw, his skull logo, and let's get the specs out of the way. 3.5-inch blade, a long handle length of 5.25 inches, making your overall length 8.75 inches. Your blade thickness is actually fairly thin at 0.12. I was surprised to see that. I was just thinking in my head that this was going to have a nice, robust, capable blade, but it's a decent slicer in this big of a package, which I was fairly surprised to see, and I'm kind of glad they went with a thinner blade stock, around 1/8 of an inch. And then your handle thickness is also fairly slim at 0.44 inches. So overall, a long knife, but a slim one, and yet it weighs in at 6.4 ounces. I know some of you guys may stop watching there, and I don't blame you. 6.5 ounces, that's a lot of weight to carry with you every day just for an EDC knife. And obviously this knife isn't supposed to be the perfect one as far as weight goes, because this is a combat knife, close quarters combat CQC, and I think it might fulfill that role, but I have some problems with it. So moving into the blade first, you have a drop point with a recurve. Very attractive blade shape, at least to me. I know a lot of you guys are not into recurves, and I don't blame you. They're not fun to sharpen. Kershaw 6045 BLK is the model number. These are Chinese produced. Ernest Emerson Knife Designs and his skull logo on this side. It's all black oxide coated, which has been wearing surprisingly well. You can see some of it scraped off there. That black oxide coating is along the frame and the clip as well as the hardware. This is a hollow ground blade. Very acute tip. That got kind of the false wedge going up on here. I'm not in love with how they ground this one, but I definitely think it would be a decent penetrator. And like I said, it's performed pretty decently as a slicer, just as an EDC knife doing those boring tasks, not doing the combat tasks. But overall, I love the blade. I like the size, 3.5 inches. I love the shape, and recurves tend to be very utilitarian for me until sharpening time comes around. Now, deployment is consistent with the rest of the CQC lineup. You have your ambidextrous thumb disc screwed in on top. Access it with both hands. Very easy. You got to apply constant pressure though, because this is riding on one bronze washer, if I can get that in the light, and one nylon or Teflon washer. So action, it's nothing to complain about really at the price point at what this knife's supposed to be capable of, but it's nothing special. I mean, it's not going to fall shut or anything on you. You're going to have to apply constant pressure to put it back or to open it up. But to help you with that, you have your wave feature. Probably the coolest thing about this knife, it snags on your pocket as you withdraw it, and your knife is ready to go. So cool thing about this one in particular, the 9K, is that the wave feature is hidden. And a knife like this one, the CQC 4K XL, which I'll be having a review of shortly, you can see you got the wave feature is just kind of sticking up there. Nothing super wrong with that, but you can see this one just disappears, becomes integrated into the handle design. Jimping lines up, and you got a nice wider thumb ramp than just this thin metal piece. It's the whole width of the handle. Your lockup here is a stainless steel frame lock. Mine's hitting probably around 60%, and this is where the problems really begin for me. So when I saw this knife design at first, it reminds me of the Emerson Commander. Just a little bit. I mean, it's got the recurve blade going on, nice curvy ergonomic handle, but the lock interface with the blade, with the bottom of the blade tank, seemed small in this dimension. You can see that the lock bar gets very skinny, and I was worried about that because you can develop lock rock. And can you hear that? I definitely have some. Now, I can't attribute that to be Kershaw's problem necessarily, because I have used and abused this knife. I've put it through some hardcore testing just to see if it was capable, and it came out on top, but it did come out with some lock rock. So I'm not saying that's necessarily a flaw of this knife. I'm just saying be aware that if you do repeatedly stab or puncture something hard with this knife, that you might get some irregular wear on your lock interface, and you might have some of that action going on. Now, that being said, the lockup was very solid before then, but the lock bar tension is just bad. It really is. It's too easy to move that lock bar out of the way. You can see there's no lock bar over travel stop, which is not a necessity, but on this knife I can move that lock bar out and almost overextend it every time. So something to be on the lookout for. Blade centering is not bad. It moves around a little bit on me, but I'm not too worried about it. These knives are very easy to adjust, and once you find your perfect sweet spot, you just throw a couple of drops of Loctite in there and you're good to go. So your handle, you have one stainless steel side and then one G10 scale. This stainless steel side, like I said before, is black oxide coated. It's wearing very well. I don't even see very many scratches on it. Very thin handle. Some sort of glass-filled nylon backspacer. I'm going to call this mostly closed construction because that does run most of the length of the knife. And then your G10 scale has adequate traction. It's not super grippy, but it's not slick. I think they did okay on that part. So I love the handle on this knife. It's 5¼ inches of just pure ergonomic goodness in one grip. You can see thumb ramp, perfect. You have your finger guard here. The other two kind of fall on this hump. Your pinky kind of nestles right in that cradle, and you're good to go. That is an awesome grip to use on this knife. Very good for puncturing, slicing, all those different tasks, but there's nowhere to move up on the knife. If you need to have some finer control, because you're very far away from that blade. You can't really put your finger here. There's nowhere to place your thumb and hold this knife safely. I mean, your reverse grip's not bad. You can definitely hold it like this. But I'm just saying, it has selective ergonomics. We'll just say that. So handle thickness feels great in the pocket, not the best in the hand. I'm a little worried that I developed lock rock because the stainless steel side is fairly thin. The lock bar width, at least, is fairly thin. So all in all, guys, is this a good deal for you? Is this something I recommend? No. I thought I was going to like it a lot more than I did. It is definitely not a bad knife. It is consistent in every way with the rest of the CQC lineup. You got an 8CR 14 MOV blade. You got G10, you got steel, you got a frame lock, you got the wave feature, you have the standard pocket clip here. This one's been enlarged a little bit. You can see this is more of the normal size, and they beefed this one up. It's larger, it's thicker, it's got a little bit more tension, but it is reversible to either side, and carries right around here. It's not supposed to carry deep, so you can access a knife and use that wave feature as you deploy it. So pocket clip, nothing super special there. You do have the standard hardware, flat head screw for the pivot, and then your Phillips head for all the body screws and the clip screws. So no, I don't recommend this one. It's going to cost you around $38, maybe a little less depending on where you shop, but it's not $40 or so wasted. It's a good knife. It's performed well for me. I just think the handle to blade ratio is wrong. I'm not a stickler for that. I usually like a longer handle, but you just got too much going on in this handle for pretty decent ergonomics overall. I do love the hidden wave feature. I love the blade shape. I love the idea behind this knife. I just think it could have been executed a little bit better. So if I don't recommend this one, which one do I recommend? Well, if you're looking for a larger CQC Kershaw Emerson knife, you can look here, the CQC 4K XL. This knife beats the 9K by a mile, even though mine has a terribly broken tip. This knife is much better. In fact, I'm going to be doing a review on this one coming up shortly, and a comparison between the two. The CQC 8K is also a good choice, and then if you want more of your EDC sized Kershaw Emerson, you can go with the 4K, the 7K, or the 8K. Those are the ones I really recommend. So that's it, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, have fun with your knives.